What's good, family? I am a little late. Yes. Scheduled for 9:30. Got in here at 9:38. So I am a little late. Uh we're going to cook. I want to make sure that I got everything in here the way I need to. All right. But yes, by George, I think they got us. I do think they got us. Um I'm going to be talking about some Georgians today. I it's Black History Month, and what they've tried to turn Black History Month into, I won't let them do. We need to talk about our history. I mean, I'm seeing all this Pan Africanist stuff, and it's interesting. It's interesting how they've done this. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to look to take a little bit of that dignity back from some of our history. I'm sharing right now. Please allow me to drop these shares in these spaces. Not going to send out a whole lot of them tonight. Just really want to get this thing cooking because, it is my birthday, and I once again appreciate all the birthday love. Yeah, I'm really trying to get blocked from them because they actually said they weren't going to put the stuff up, and then all of a sudden they ran like 5 streams in a row. They're just really bipolar over there. Shout out to all my Ipsy family, Ann Arbor family, of course. Shout out to all my American freedmen and those who understand the political and legal classification of such. Those who don't, I get it. You're a tad bit lost still, and it's okay. I get it. I mean, that's the way it's going to be out here. Let me drop this intro real quick. Get the rest of these house cleaning things in, make sure all the audio is working, and we'll get back at it with, by George, I think they got us.
This revolution is filled with so many ironies, really. First, you tell us that it is manly to keep your word, right? If you are a man, you keep your word. And now all of the black people in this country are demanding, and even the black people in the whole world are demanding, is that you keep your word. You told us we were free. Well, then show us that we're free. You told us that there is justice, equality for all in this country. Well, then stick to your word and let us see the justice and equality for all. Or else admit to us that you're not a man. You're a worm. You're afraid of us. You're afraid to give us equal stand. You're afraid that if you give us equal ground, that we will match you and we will override you.
Y'all want to see a dead body?
All right, I think we are in here. Looks like I'm up pretty much everywhere. Um, it is Monday night, and this has been an interesting birthday, I tell you. I appreciate all the love from the family, from friends, from allies, from enemies. You got to be able to take the love from the enemies. You got to be able to. If you don't take the love from the enemies, I mean, what would you do? What would you do if you didn't take that enemy love? So I appreciate all of that as well. But we're in here today. We're going to do some things. Talking a bit tonight about the Georges. And one George stuck out in my mind more than other Georges did. But then I kind of built the cast in my mind, totally in my mind, based on some other Georges. I mean, I had one George in mind, and then I said, oh man, I could add that, and then I could add that. Next thing you know, I got four Georges. So it all came up in my mind. Why is that down like that? Let me see here. I got a situation where I got a screen down. And why I got a screen down? Okay. So we're good there. Appreciate anybody that's going to watch this, listen to this on Twitter. And anybody that's going to do so on Facebook, streaming through YouTube, and it's cutting out towards those two spaces. Still not catching, the viewership on YouTube as people think I should be having, but I don't really concern myself with it at this point because we understand what the numbers mean and what they don't. So the thing is that we're where we are right now, and that's a good thing. But yeah, these Georges, all different, in their own right, in their own respects, but they contribute to our culture a lot. I mean, you can look at all four of these Georges, and you can definitely say that they've been integral parts in Black American culture. So I want to definitely, kind of get into some things, and hopefully everybody is good out here. The weather is finally changing a little bit for us, getting into the 30s. We had like several days where it was like 0 degrees, and I see it's been low around the country. I'm glad y'all starting to, tick back up, because y'all was in some problems too. But we were just, it was just miserable here. Miserable to go outside. You had remote start. It'd take like 4 starts to get your car going. I mean, they started up, but they would cut off. It would time out. And then what would happen there, you get out to the car and it's still cold after like 4, that's like 35, 40 minutes. But it looks like we're turning around, at least for a couple days. Thought I had an emergency call there. It's going to have to pause for a minute. mute the mics, but they said it was a mistake. Thank goodness. And there's so much other stuff going on. This is be a cast that I really don't have to bring up that situation in Memphis. Well, I've got a situation I'm going to talk about in Memphis, but it's not what everybody else is talking about. So we'll get to that in a little bit. But right now, I really just want to kind of get to it. I really want to get to it, get to the good part, get on to the good part. George's. When you think of George, when you think of that first name, George, you can't say that the first thing you don't think of is George Washington. People would be lying if they said, first thing I think of, first George I think of is not George Washington. Why not? Why wouldn't it be? Do I have any Georges no, I don't have any Georges in my immediate family. Got some Georges, I guess, in extended parts, but it's not a common name in my family. So the first George that I would think of would be George Washington, And I know I'm gonna get some blackety black. I ain't thinking of George Washington. I think of George Washington Carver. You're gonna get those. I get it, and there's really nothing I can say about that. You say what you feel, but I know for a fact that if somebody says, "Hey, George Washington," or George, it's first George, I'm saying George Washington. And I'm not going to lie. Now, George Washington Carver is probably right up there too, but, George Washington is the first George that I would generally think of. If somebody says George Foreman, like George Foreman Grill or something, then that'd be off too. That'd be just fat. But we have that. We have people might not know George Foreman the boxer, but they might know the George Foreman Grill. And if you say George Foreman Grill over George Washington or George Washington Carver, yeah. Okay. You just fat. I get it. But let me get in here. Just really want to get to it. Like I said, minimize myself here. And we're going to start with George Washington. The reason we're going to start with George Washington is because we're going to go left to right. We're going to go left to right. And as the first president of this country, a lot of people, feel like he did us a lot of good. I think he was the first president of this country. I don't know how much good he did to the enslaved collective, to American freedmen. Good evening, Empress Goddess. Good evening, Sister Yvette. Glad both of you could join me. We get another person in here with us in this chat. Got us a good spades hand. I know there's more people listening out there, but just what I can see. So it is what it is. And they're all on YouTube. That's a good thing. That's a good thing. I'll pop on YouTube with a good 12 viewers. I will pop on YouTube. Y'all don't know, but it's all good. I see you. I see you. Yeah, we're gonna go to George. Let's just go to George. Ain't no point of belaboring the time, as they say. Let's go on to George. This article I actually read called The Washington Papers. Interesting. Came out a few years back. And they basically brought out some truths about George Washington. I know a lot of y'all were probably told this as well when you were children, that George Washington's teeth were made out of wood. I was taught that. I was taught that. I was literally taught that the first president of the United States' teeth were made out of wood. That was what his dentures were made out of. That's what they taught us. That's what they taught us. They taught us that George Washington's teeth were made out of woods. Yes. I personally didn't even know, didn't care to do any research on it back then. Figured, it's what they had, and I was always curious, like, did termites eat his teeth, like when he died? But, they got him preserved. They got the dentures preserved. America's always been kind of weird like that. Like, y'all couldn't let that man die with his teeth. Y'all couldn't let George Washington go to his grave with his partial. Y'all really had to put him in the jar. I mean, you put your teeth in the glass at night. They basically just put his in the jar. He said, we just going to preserve these boys. But it said, did George Washington's false teeth come from his slaves? A look at the evidence, the responses to that evidence, and the limitations of history. Well, we're going to cut through all the little BS just so we can see some things, because I don't want anybody to be misled, misguided. And we're going to get down into we'll go to wherever Dr. Lamayor practiced. He sought through newspaper ads people who are willing to dispose of their front teeth. Now, I am suspicious of this history. I know there's limited proof. They say there's limited proof, but I got an issue. I mean, and it's just in my mind. But I don't know who would just be willing to give up their fronts at any cost. I mean, what am I doing here? What am I doing here? I'm just going to give you my two front teeth for, they're saying they paid them. Now, here's a funny thing. And it ain't funny, but it's funny. You didn't pay the slaves. I mean, follow me on this. You didn't pay the slaves. What would make you think that I believe that you paid the slaves for their teeth? I mean, why wouldn't you just take them? You took everything else you could from enslaved individuals. You took their manhood, you took their womanhood, you took their childhoods. You took all their dignity. You made them hate one another. Why would I believe that you would be so nice as to pay them for their teeth if you desired them to put in somebody else's mouth? This is where it gets a little off for me right up front. We early. We got a minute. Excuse me for the slurping. I just felt like it was a lie. I mean, I don't know. Y'all might not think it's a lie, but I felt it was a lie. While in New York, he advertised that he would pay 2 guineas each for 2 front teeth. For good front teeth. Okay. So now you're being choosy what kind of teeth you get. Why wouldn't you just pay less if the teeth weren't really good, but you'd still pay for them? They didn't pay nobody for no teeth. Let me just get this out here. I don't believe it. Richmond, he stipulated slaves accepted. They accepted. That could explain why the price noted by Lund Washington was so low. 9 teeth sold for 2 guineas, each would be worth almost 19 pounds. See, I don't understand the translation in currency here. Washington paid only slightly more than 6 pounds. Wow, so he paid a third of what somebody else is paying. Huh. So George was up there lowballing enslaved individuals for their fronts. Lowballing them. Lund Washington paid 19. George paid what he pay? He paid 6. I mean, 19 might have been a fair price. I don't know. I don't know what the currency rate was back then, how it translated. But George Washington came in. This is the father of our country. He paid slightly more than 6 pounds, lowballed it all the way down. This is where they could have stopped the lie and been like, you know what? George didn't pay shit. George didn't buy him. He snatched teeth out of slaves' mouths, and that was it. What are they going to do? Without further documentation, we can only speculate on the sequence of events leading to the inclusion of human teeth in George Washington's dentures. Perhaps Dr. Lemaire offered George Washington a deal in which George saved on teeth by buying them at a much discounted rate from his slaves rather than from Dr. Lemaire. Look, much discounted. Come on now. I mean, they really sexied this up. Like George Washington paid somebody for his teeth if he was getting them from somebody he owned. Somebody he owned. He paid them for the teeth. It is also possible that George or Lund Washington forced. It is also possible that George or Lund Washington forced. Hell, we might as well go full Umar with it tonight. It is also possible that George or Lund Washington forced one or more of their enslaved people to part with their teeth, paying them a drastically reduced rate. Yeah, drastically reduced to nothing. They did not pay no enslaved people for their teeth. They took their teeth and told them to deal with it. Under Virginia's laws at the time, no plantation owner would have faced legal consequences for such an action. You don't say. You don't say. Low ball. I mean, it's 19 going rate. George said, I give you 6. That's why they could have stopped the lie, because the lie is that he gave him that, knowing good and well he didn't give him nothing. He didn't pay nobody. George didn't pay nobody. Nobody. As the first president of the United States, George Washington set the standards for presidential leadership and the goals of the new century. He made difficult decisions, including the incredibly significant one to step down from office after 2 terms. So they could go longer than 2 terms back then, setting an important precedent and preventing the new democracy from sinking back into a monarchy. At the end of his life, George Washington also made a controversial decision, not condoned by his family, to free his legal portion of Mount Vernon's enslaved people. So this is near the end of his life. This is when I told you, people get ready to die. They want to find Jesus. They want to find the Lord. This was George, making peace with himself by freeing the black folks. He done walked around his whole life smiling at everybody with their teeth, looking at all them enslaved people with their kinfolk's teeth in his mouth. Now he gonna say, you know what? Y'all can go free. Y'all can go free. Y'all can go now, because I'm about to get up out of here. I have no more needs for you. So y'all can go. Now, there was just his portion. And I think he had a little less than half of the slaves on that plantation. However, as a slaveholder, George Washington was also followed by the standards of his time. He condoned and even encouraged violence. This is where y'all need to understand, old George wasn't so nice to us. They always want to try to justify and sexy up George Washington and Abraham Lincoln. But this is where I bring it back home for Black History Month. This is not Black Heritage Month. This is Black American History Month. I know they're trying to Pan-African it up. I get it. This is what we're subjected to, and this is what we've allowed to happen. But this right here is Black American history, American freedmen history. But before we were freed, we were enslaved. And this is who George had a problem with. Not no Black immigrants, nobody from the Caribbean, no Asians, no Latinos, nobody from Afghanistan, Pakistan, nowhere. It was just us, y'all. It was just us. And it says he condoned and even encouraged. So he not only didn't give a shit, he said do that shit as a way to keep enslaved people subservient. He bought and sold slaves for economic reasons. You don't say. They try to make it seem like these people was out here doing it and balling. No, they was balling with us. They was balling with us. It was us that they was making their money with. We was the money. We was the money. They didn't make their money off of being entrepreneurs. They made their money off of us. They made their money off of us. We were the money. No. They'll talk about George Washington all year long. Talk about George Washington during Black History Month. We got something for ya, Sister Riri in the house. We got something for ya. If y'all want to come talk about George Washington, let's talk about George Washington now. He bought and sold slaves for economic reasons, sometimes separating families in the process. See, George was a part of that collective too. See, this is what I got to tell you. You know what? Let me go ahead and come up here for a second. This ain't in my mind, y'all. I'm trying to tell you. Where I get upset. I didn't cut all my lights on in here. Is that why it's a little dark? Seem a little dark in here? Yep. We're still a commodity on the open market. Yeah. You go in a different direction with it, Empress Goddess. But yes, we are still being traded on the open market to this day. We're a commodity. Thank you. I just need them updates because them updates help me out, help me move. All right, told you I ain't muting nothing now. If y'all hear some strange noises and stuff from now on, y'all gonna hear them because I muted the mics out and I was gone for like 216 few streams ago. I was just up there talking. I was just going. I was cooking. And you know this. Man, there ain't nothing you could say to make me live in Mississippi. And I got some people that live in Mississippi. They manage, they do pretty well for themselves, so they okay. But the folks that ain't doing well for themselves in Mississippi, man, come on, man. What you doing down there, man? They still call you boy down there, and you can't really do shit about it. I mean, can we talk? It's late. It's late now. It's late. It's after 10. FCC gonna let it down a little bit. They try to act like FCC and all up in the internet. FCC and the interwebs too. But it's after 10, so we can let loose down. We can let loose. But just looking at this and seeing how things were, I mean, he separated families just like we hear about other malicious, other violent slave masters. George Washington did it too. He separated families. That's how he gained power with them. This is how they kept us a docile people, how they kept us in line. They separate our families. They didn't understand that that's what also made us wild, because anybody that's really seeking to get back to their family, they're going to rebel now. They're going to run away. You causing a disturbance. They could have left them people alone, could have left them people together. It would have been right. We still getting birthday wishes. I appreciate y'all coming in at 10:10 tonight. Appreciate the love, y'all. I'm going to try to get to everybody's by tomorrow. I'll tell you. Overwhelming love, and it's coming from different directions. People done posted stuff. I done posted stuff. Ray done posted stuff. Kids done posted stuff. People saying happy birthday everywhere, and I can't catch them all. But I'm trying, y'all. I'm trying. Because I appreciate the love. While President of the United States, leading a nominally free country, he actively prevented his enslaved servants from learning of their own natural right to freedom. See how this is? See, this brings things out. They always want to paint George Washington in a good light. In a good light. How could you paint him in a good light when he was out there separating families, encouraging violence on our people, actively preventing enslaved servants from learning of their own natural right to freedom? How could you laud him as the father of our country? Come on, man. Oh, don't you worry about that. Don't you worry about that. Absolutely. Uh-oh. Riri got some knowledge in here. Watch the documentary, The Cotton Picking Truth. I'm on it. 1010's an angel number. I got to play that 4-digit. Do I play that straight or box? What I got to do that with, Empress? So I got to play that straight or box? And you know I'm going to play a box. I ain't going to play that just straight. That's crazy. That thing come 1001, I'd be hot. Now I'm going to play that straight and box. Play a 50-50 too. I know I'm lying because I don't play no lottery. That's why I can't win that Mega Million, because I don't play. It's almost up to $1 billion again. I think I'm going to play it. I think I'm going to play it this time. Yeah, I think I'm going to play it. I ain't played it the last several times. It's done got to $1 billion or near $1 billion. But I think I'm going to play it this time. Yeah, I think I'm going to play it. It's my birthday month. I'm feeling lucky. I think I'm going to get that Powerball wrapped up. In my mind. But, they paint a picture for George Washington that is just so beautiful. But he was a scoundrel, dog. So this is where I'm at with it, just finishing up. Without more documentation that might help us find the real story behind George Washington's dentures, our reactions to the revelation that they included human teeth have more to do with our own worldviews and subconscious beliefs about our first president than with historic reality. All history involves interpretation and personal bias, but with a subject as fraught as slavery and involving an icon like George Washington, responses can be all the more intense and emotional. They don't have to be. We know damn well his teeth weren't wood, okay? George Washington he had enamel on his teeth. Them teeth was humans. They tried to say something like he had some walrus ivory in his mouth or something like that. No. He had Waldorf Ivory's teeth. He didn't have no walrus ivory. He had Waldorf Ivory. He's from the old ivory plantation down there. Yeah, okay, whatever. Stories like this provide us with the opportunity to investigate the evidence, to notice our responses to that evidence, and finally, perhaps most valuably, to examine why we are responding as we do. We are responding as we do because he left a lot of toothless slaves. Talking about he paid them. You didn't pay the slaves. I know you didn't pay them for their fronts. Stop lying. They need to stop lying. If I hear about them talking to my grandkids about George Washington's teeth were made out of wood, you know what? As a matter of fact, I think I'm going to have Caleb do a book report. When it's time for him to start doing book reports, do one on the first president, and we're going to talk about his dentures. And on a side note, don't believe what's in our books where it says George Washington's teeth were made out of wood. I've got proof here. Caleb will get an A+ on his book report just by information alone. Hear me? Hear me? Just by information alone. Yeah. George Washington wasn't for us. George Washington owned us. Exactly. But we ain't going to tell no more lies. And we definitely ain't going to have no lies told in our month. It's our month. You ain't going to sit up here and lie to us. Smile at us with somebody else's teeth in your mouth. Are you crazy, George? Get up out of here. But that's what I had on him, man. You know, that's what I had on him. You know, I mean, let's be real. His teeth were not made out of wood. It is what it is. They need to stop that lie. George Washington had slave teeth in his mouth. Period. Point blank, period. Brother Naeem said. So, what I'm going to do, I'm going to move forward amicably. I'm going to move forward amicably. So, were people mad because Beyonce didn't win Album of the Year? I'm not sure why anybody is mad for Beyonce at all. I saw Beyonce selling some nosebleed seats for like $8,000. Who can pay $8,000 to go to a concert? Look, Beyonce could come sit on my lap and sing all the Destiny's Child songs, all her duets with Jay-Z. Jay-Z can't come sit on my lap, but you know, and all her solo records, all her songs from soundtracks, she could do it. She could sit on my lap and sing them all. I'm not paying $8,000 to see Beyonce do shit. Look, if Beyonce gets 8 racks from me, she's painting this whole house and putting a new roof on it. The hell? $8,000? And I thought it was just one ticket. I thought it was just one ticket. I don't even think there was 2 tickets. So you going by yourself for $8,000? Oh my God. Beyonce is good. She ain't worried about no damn Grammy. She got there late. She walked in late. She walked in late. Excuse me, baby. Excuse me, baby. I do like Beyonce because she country as a collard green, though. They done fix her dialect, you know, to the point where she sounds European, but she's really got a Southern drawl, and they've just kind of corrected it through the years to try to make her brand more marketable. But that Southern drawl is sexy. That Southern drawl, people like that Southern drawl. They like it. She was very late, and they called her on it. Wow. Hey, man. It is what it is. You know, it is what it is. I mean, they kind of run things now. Didn't she have like the most nominations again? I don't even know what her new album sounds like, but it must be one hell of an album. And she's out here charging $8,000 for a ticket. One ticket. You going by yourself for 8,000. She was busy. B was like, I gotta be somewhere. They were like, we got the Grammys tonight. She, I got somewhere to go. You know you big when you got the most nominations for Grammys and you show up late and you're like, we got shit to do, y'all. But we here. This next one here, man, we you know, we're gonna talk a little bit about this. I'm not gonna say that the stream is gonna take a downward turn, because it's really not gonna take a downward turn. It's really not gonna take a downward turn. But I do want to put the brother's picture up because I feel like he deserves screen by himself. I feel like he deserves a screen by himself. It's a color imposed image, because I don't believe the original picture was color. I believe they did it based on, you know, what he looked like. This is Dr. George Washington Carver. 8,000. I mean, it's like a quality used car for your kid. What could she do on that stage for $8,000? Nothing for me. Absolutely nothing. I know the songs. I know the hits. She can't do them live for me and make me feel complete for $8,000. Not at all. I'm going to feel cheated somewhere. I don't care if it's all you can eat popcorn and bottled water, because I mean, I don't do anything else. I'm going to go these things. Rumor is that a couple saving to buy their first home. The wife took the money and bought 2 tickets. What? Oh, man. So they didn't make it. Oh, shit. Man, if we are up here saving for a house and you take the money and go buy 2 Beyonce tickets with it, we're not look, we're not saving for a vacation. We're not saving for, you know, something that we're not saving for a rainy day. You are saving money for your first home. They've been renting. They finally about to get out of renting. And the wife takes the money and buys 2 Beyonce tickets. She like, save the date, baby. Save the date. We going to the Beehive. We going to the Beehive. I don't want to see no stars, no moons, no nothing. I want to see no planets for $8,000. I'm not getting in a space shuttle for $8,000. Yeah. Yeah, she'd have to go, and I'm probably just going to check myself out too, because I ain't going to spend no time in prison, so I'm just going to go too. She just messed it up for everybody. Hopefully they didn't have no kids. Hopefully they didn't have no kids. You know, the kids be sitting up there with 2 tickets. What are they going to do? They going to go to the concert? Seriously? You took the down payment money from your first home purchase to buy 2 Beyonce tickets, you got to go. You can't stay here tonight. That's all I would be able to, it's the only thing I'd be able to say to her. I'm not going to fight. We're not going to argue about it. We're not going to debate. I'm just going to look her in the eye and be like, you can't stay here tonight. You just can't. I mean, literally. I mean, I'm just, because if I do this, that's pretty much the end of our conversation. When I do this, that's telling you should probably go that way. From this point on, I am not responsible for any of my actions. And if you took our down payment money on our home, you're going to get this, and you should probably vacate the premises quickly. I mean, I'm talking expeditiously. Don't get a bag. Do not go pack. You go into that bedroom, you're not coming out. You got to go now. You just got to hit the dough. You just got to hit the dough. I hope at that point she had her car keys in her hand, because you're out the door. So whatever you got on you, that's what you got. You better have your keys strapped to you like a janitor. They better be on your waistband, because I'm not letting you walk around the house. You're not picking up stuff. You're going to go on and get up out of here. That's what you're going to do. You're going to get up out of here. And then I'm cutting your phone off just so you can't download and save the tickets, because the tickets coming home. Tickets staying here. By the time you get to some Wi-Fi, your phone going to be off. You ain't going to be able to upload nothing. And that money came out of our joint account. Oh, go ahead and try to do something. You going to jail too. They better put you in jail. So, down payment money? Come on, man. But yeah, man, we got to cook on George Washington Carver. I can sit here and talk about this mess all night long, how wrong that is. But there's women out here doing it. They losing their religion over some Beyonce tickets. Girl, you better get in the car and turn that music up loud. I don't think you're ready for this jelly. Okay. Can't pay your bills. Can't pay your telephone bills. Yeah, she'd have to go. She'd have to go tonight. And, hey, don't call. I'm not answering. And don't be trying to call private. I don't answer those calls anyway. Just leave me alone. Leave me alone. Yep. I'll hunt you down. But anyways, let's go on and get back into George Washington Carver. That's all it's doing. That's all it's doing. She don't need no money. She don't need no money. I mean, Beyonce, come on, man. Come on, B. Come on, B. And personally, when I think of things like this, I think of the selfishness that I see in a lot of relationships. And that's happening a lot more. And it's unfortunate that it is happening this way. But you're seeing a lot of relationships go by the wayside because of selfishness on both sides. On both sides. And give me one quick second. I'm trying to find something here. but because I want that, so we might as well send that. But I want something else. Hold on one second. But yeah, relationships today have gotten to the point where there's such a level of selfishness in relationships. I believe that's why you're seeing less longevity with relationships. Okay. You're seeing less marriages. And what is this? Oh. I'm trying to find something that is very vital to talking about George Washington Carver. But there is I believe, a direct correlation to people not willing to submit themselves into relationships. So sorry about this, y'all. I lost the actual page that I was looking at. So George Washington Carver, a very I'm speechless about those tickets, yes. A very interesting individual. And he's unique. He's unique because of who he was to America in the time of what he was. And you got to understand, George Washington Carver was born a year before the abolition of slavery. You know, I guess the completion of things started in 1863, from what I hear, and then ended in 1865. He was born in 1864. Okay. And he was a very interesting individual because he created with what he had at his disposal. And they've obviously, through the years, stolen so many of his inventions and his work. Yeah, he received some symbolic honors, but as far as real honor, I don't believe his family received compensation for what he did. And I don't believe that he's ever been given the just credit. But let me get to this here. I'm just going to, I really want to read from a Wikipedia. Buffering? Okay. Um, buffering. So let's leave that in there. All right. I want to share. Stop that screen. So we stop that screen and then we're going to start another screen. Excuse me. I got kind of lost there looking at something and got mad because I lost the page. I thought I actually had saved it in my messenger, and I'm sitting there looking for it and it just wasn't there. So that's my fault. I ain't gonna lie. That's my fault that I did that. So jumping to George Washington Carver, we're gonna go right to the Wikipedia. Not trying to breeze through it at all, but I guess his professional title was agricultural scientist, and he was an inventor. And it says he promoted alternative crops to cotton and methods to prevent soil depletion. He's one of the most prominent Black scientists of the early 20th century. And they did what they did to him. Okay. We got to understand, people that are important to us, people that did great things to us, still experienced a lot of shit in the 20th century. Born in 1864, lived till 43. So he lived through some stuff, through the end of slavery, through Reconstruction, Jim Crow, all the BS, right? While a professor at Tuskegee Institute, Carver developed techniques to improve types of soil depleted by repeated plantings of cotton. He wanted poor farmers to grow other crops such as peanuts and sweet potatoes as a source of their own food and to improve their quality of life. So back in the day, they use this word a lot now. Back in the day, they wanted George wanted people to diversify their crops. Everybody was pretty much on the same stuff, but he wanted poor farmers. And who was poor farmers? He knew who poor farmers were. It was us. It was American freedmen. And he wanted poor farmers to grow other crops such as peanuts and sweet potatoes as a source of their own food and to improve their quality of life. The most popular of his 44 practical bulletins for farmers contain 105 food recipes using peanuts. He was a master of the peanut. He was a master of the peanut. Although he spent years developing and promoting numerous products made from peanuts, none became commercially successful. So the myth has been for years, and a lot of people know that this has, been debunked, that he invented peanut butter. George Washington Carver did not invent peanut butter. But he pretty much did everything else with the peanut. He did everything else. Apart from his work to improve the lives of farmers, Carver also was a leader in promoting environmentalism. He received numerous honors for his work, including Spingarn Medal of the NAACP. I don't know what that is, Spingarn. In an era of high racial polarization, his fame reached beyond the Black community. He was widely recognized and praised in the white community for his many achievements and talents. In 1941, Time magazine dubbed Carver a Black Leonardo. A Black Leonardo. Really? Really, dog? That's who he is? He's a Black Leonardo? That's who he's got to be? a black Leonardo. Leonardo was Italian, but he's going to be a black Leonardo. See, that's where they got this stuff from. You know, that's how they always do it. He's a black so-and-so. He's a this so-and-so. He's that. This is where it comes from. They started this way back in the day. They always tried to make us somebody that it was somebody else. No, how about he was the black Carver, and because whoever Leonardo was, Leonardo picked that probably up from some more melanated people back in the 1500s. Because I'm sure that's the Leonardo they're talking about, right? Yeah. The Leonardo da Vinci. 1500s. Come on, man. 1452. And how they know the dates back then? April 15th, 1452, May 2nd, 1519. But when you look at Dr. Carver's birth date, they only have a beginning month. They just got a year and then his date that he died. But they had all the information for Leonardo back in the 14 and 1500s. See how they do? You see how they do? This is how they do. This is how they do. We know good and well they don't have the precise dates for no Leonardo da Vinci back in the 1400s. But they should have precise dates for George Washington Carver. He was born in 1864, a year before the abolition of slavery. So we thought. You got to have records. What month he was born. Come on, man. Why they playing? Why they playing? But this is what they do. This is how they create their narrative. And if we don't stand in there and debunk the narrative and give them the proper history or just call bullshit, sometimes you just got to call bullshit and then make them stop. Y'all ever do that? You might not even have the answer. You might not have all the information documented. But if somebody's just spitting some lies and something, you just be like, bullshit. And I'll be like, whoa. And then, you know, when they can't prove what they just said, and then now you done said bullshit, which basically means I need you to prove that, you got them. Because most of them can't prove the stuff that they put out. These stats have all been false. Dog, if people weren't so up on Christopher Columbus being some drunk journeyman, nobody would ever figured out that he hadn't figured out shit. We grew up thinking Christopher Columbus found America. Christopher Columbus found a place to go to the bathroom. People was already here. This shit, he acts like, I mean, come on, man. We knew better. And then all of a sudden, once we was like, look, this is all false. Christopher Columbus didn't find shit. And then white people were just like, you know what, y'all right. Y'all right. We was just fucking with y'all, man. We was just fucking with y'all. We knew Christopher Columbus didn't find America, but we're going to keep these holidays, though. We're going to keep these statues, though. We're going to keep these universities, though. We're going to keep all this stuff that says Columbus on it, even though it's fugazi. We know it is actually not even true. He didn't find America. We have no reason why we named all this shit Columbus, because it's false. But they don't change none of the names or none of the Christopher Columbus stuff. None of them. You ever notice that? None of the Christopher Columbus stuff ever changes names. Exactly. We do know how they've lightened everybody up. Everybody got skin lightening cream from the history books. Everybody got cake soap. Everybody got cake soap. Ain't no dark people in the history books. You go back and look at them movies, man. You go back and look at them movies with Liz Taylor as Cleopatra. Is it Liz Taylor? Cleopatra. And then what's the other dude? He was one of the Egyptians. I mean, come on, man. Hey, Yul Brynner playing some people. I'm like, wait a minute. Where all these white folks come from? In an area where you couldn't even stand outside. You was going to be golden if you just stood outside. But they went and got just flat out just white actors. Like, look, we need to put you on this movie. It's in Africa. You know, you're African now. And we should be able to pull it off, make it believable. I'm just like, whatever. I'm not going to believe that. I mean, what was she was Cleopatra, and wasn't Nefertiti white too? They put in one of them movies that had Nefertiti be white. I'm like, they know Nefertiti ain't white. Why they doing this? But we weren't, fighting it. And then when we start fighting this stuff, then you started seeing that stuff stop being shown. They know good and well Nefertiti and Cleopatra was black. Nah. Let's get Raquel Welch and Liz Taylor. We can pull it off. Let's go. Columbus came over here and saw all the riches for our... Yeah. Drunk. Columbus came over here drunk. He was drunk. I'm trying to tell you, Columbus was drunk driving on the ocean. He was out there drunk driving on the ocean. Stumbled upon this land, talking about he discovered something. Like, look, man, these people's already here. Don't be going to this third-day piece, And he came in with his reckless army, and they did all kind of stuff. I mean, it is what it is. Columbus enslaved the Aboriginals here in the Americas. Then yeah. Oh yeah. All facts here. We're not spitting anything, that wasn't true. We're just trying to bring light to some situations. But let's get back into George Washington Carver. Okay, we get back into George. He's an incredible man, right? And let me get this here. There we go. Okay. Trying to find I might have to go down to his early life. Give me 1 second. Oh, where it says rise to fame. And this is really just to pick some things that he did, because they pretty much neutralized his efforts because they just didn't give him carte blanche. Nobody was doing things that he was doing, but they still didn't allow him just to go rogue and be as great as he could be. They offered him a way, but very much in a glass ceiling like fashion. Carter developed techniques to improve soils depleted by repeated plantings of cotton. We said that earlier. Together with other agricultural experts, he urged farmers to restore nitrogen to their soils by practicing systematic crop rotation, alternating crops with plantings of sweet potatoes and legumes such as peanuts, soybeans, and cowpeas. These crops both restored nitrogen to the soil and were also good for human consumption. So he was thinking around the clock, helping the soil out, but still offering nutrition to the people. Following the crop rotation practice resulted in improved cotton fields and gave farmers alternative cash crops. To train farmers to successfully rotate and cultivate the new crops, Carver developed an agriculture extension program for Alabama that was similar to the one at Iowa State. To encourage better nutrition in the South, he widely distributed recipes using alternative crops. I mean, he was the whole game. George was the whole game. He was the whole kit and caboodle, as they say. He founded an industrial research laboratory where he had assistants, worked to popularize the new crops by developing hundreds of applications for them. They did original research as well as promoting applications and recipes which they collected from others. Carver distributed his information as agricultural bulletins. So he got the word out. He got the word out. I was like, look, I'm over here doing my thing. I'm over here doing my thing, fucking with these peanuts. So, you know, it is what it is. Well, I'm losing a lot in the chat. My fault. Let me go that last one. Yeah. 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 And you don't never hear George Washington Carver's name mentioned at all. I mean, he doesn't get any type of credit today for his agricultural prowess and his way before his time agricultural acumen. And this is where I have a problem, because why are we not talking about George Washington Carver during Black American History Month? It's got nothing to do with Pan-Africanism. Y'all kill me with that red, black, and green shit. Has nothing to do with it at all. So, looking at what George was going through, Carver's work was known by officials in the national capital before he became a public figure. President Theodore Roosevelt publicly admired his work and privately called him a nigger. Former professors of Carver's from Iowa State were appointed to positions as Secretary of Agriculture. Former professors of Carver's from Iowa State were appointed to positions of Secretary of Agriculture. How are you going to appoint his professors to Secretary of Agriculture when he was the beast? Shouldn't he have appointed him? Or we couldn't hold those positions back then? I forgot. Yeah. James Wilson, a former dean and professor of Carver's, served from 1897 to 1913. Henry Cantwell Wallace served from 1921 to 1924. He knew Carver personally because of his son, Henry A. Wallace, and the researchers were friends. And then we have the younger Wallace served as United States Secretary of Agriculture from 33 to 40 as Franklin Delano Roosevelt's vice president from 1941 to 45. He got no credit. They put people in his place that he knew more than. That still happens today. The American industrialist, farmer, and inventor William C. Edenborn of Wynn Parish, Louisiana, grew peanuts on his demonstration farm. He consulted with Carver. Yeah, he consulted with him and then used the shit and didn't give him no credit. Didn't nobody give George Washington Carver credit? They didn't start giving him credit till he was damn near dead. And by then, he's past the high time of compensation. So, yeah, they can start giving you your flowers when you're about to go on the ground. In 1916, Carver was made a member of the Royal Society of Arts in England, one of only a handful of Americans at the time to receive this honor. Carver's promotion of peanuts gained him the most notice. By 1920, that's where it starts to get a little good right here. By 1920, the United States peanut farmers were being undercut by low prices on imported peanuts from the Republic of China. America has been China's bitch for over 100 years. 100. People talk stuff about America now, but America has been sucking on China's chopsticks for over 100 years. That's why you hear every now and then you hear people talking about how China owns America. Hey, they've been investing in it a long time. They got to have a stake in it somewhere. I mean, it's crazy. In 1921, peanut farmers and industry representatives planned to appear at congressional hearings to ask for a tariff. Based on the quality of Carver's presentation at their convention, they asked the African-American professor to testify on the tariff issue before the Ways and Means Committee of the United States House of Representatives. Yeah, that's what they did. This is what they did. And then it says, due to segregation, it was highly unusual for an African American to appear as an expert witness at Congress representing European American industry and farmers. Southern congressmen reportedly shocked at Carver's arriving to testify were said to have mocked him. Southern congressmen reportedly shocked as Carver's arriving to testify were said to have mocked him. As he talked about the importance of the peanut and its uses, the American culture, the committee members repeatedly extended the time for his testimony. The Fordney-McCumber tariff of 1922 was passed, including one on imported peanuts. Carver's testifying to Congress made him widely known as a public figure. The fact that they were importing peanuts was a flat out undermine. Why am I over here trying to do this and you're bringing them in from China? You're cutting me at the knees, bro. Don't have me out here growing shit and you bringing it in from Asia. During the last 2 decades of his life, Carver seemed to enjoy his celebrity status. He was often on the road promoting Tuskegee University, peanuts, sweet potatoes, and racial harmony. Now, remember, he died in 43. He died in 43. So he died during a really screwed up time still. We hadn't even got through the civil rights movement, into the civil rights movement. But he was out here trying to promote racial harmony. Although he published 6 agricultural bulletins after 1922, he published articles in peanut industry journals and wrote syndicated newspaper column, Professor Carver's Advice. Business leaders came to seek his help and he often responded with free advice. Come on, man. Dr. Carver was giving up free advice that was priceless, because if they didn't get it from him, they wouldn't have known stuff. Who were his representatives? Free advice. Why would Dr. Carver have to give up free advice to some peasant trying to learn his craft so they can go make more money on it than he is, because they're going to make more money on it. People are going to make more money than George Washington Carver by taking it and putting it into the dominant white society economic infrastructure. He was a part of that, but he was our bottom cast, so he was never going to get full share of anything. The three American presidents, Theodore Roosevelt, Calvin Coolidge, and Franklin Roosevelt, met with him, and the Crown Prince of Sweden studied with him for 3 weeks. From 1923 to 33, Carver toured white Southern colleges for the Commission on Interracial Cooperation. I have no idea what that is. It's highlighted. I guess I can go look at it, but I'm not going to look at it right now. With his increasing notability, Carver became the subject of biographies and articles. Raleigh M. Merritt contacted him for his biography published in 1929. Merritt wrote, "At present, not a great deal has been done to utilize Dr. Carver's discoveries commercially. He says that he is merely scratching the surface of scientific investigations of the possibilities of the peanut and other Southern products." So he was on the cusp of something beautiful, but he never achieved it himself. And probably to this day, the peanut still is not maximized the way it would have if he had been given all of the resources that he needed to spread his vision. So yeah, I mean, he did a lot. But they kept him from doing a lot, and they kept him from getting the acknowledgement that he should have gotten, because they kept him from doing a lot. As much as he did do, as much as we know that he did do, we also know that he had a glass ceiling. He could only go so far, and he only went so far. He only went so far. And that was a problem within itself, you know? To only go so far wasn't because of his lack of trying, his lack of commitment. He only went so far because they only allowed him to go so far. And he involuntarily had to pass the baton to somebody who knew less than him, where they got the credit for things. That still happens today. That still happens today. It does. I'm muted. Hopefully I'm not muted. Maybe in my mind. In my mind. I thought I was good. But he was a man of many talents, really a man of infinite talents, and I just think that they minimized him to many talents. I think George Washington Carver was minimized to many talents versus being a man of infinite talents. Giving full on autonomy, I think he would have just been an incredible force out here in the world of science, and they knew that. And they would have had to given him too much credit of American history, and that would have been a problem. That would have been a problem. He's one of the most renowned agricultural scientists, but they're always going to put that black in front of him. They don't want to say he's one of the most renowned scientists of all time. They're going to put the black in front of his name. You know. Yep. Absolutely. I believe Brother George was seeking white acceptance. Thank you, sweetie. I believe Brother George was looking for that way in that way. You know, some people think that's the way in to get that white acceptance. Get that white acceptance and you home free. You home free. You get that white acceptance. Yeah, okay. First and foremost, that's not true. You're not home free because you get white acceptance. You're not. You're not. I truly believe that he tried to rub elbows with them folks that did not like him. And as a matter of fact, many were probably jealous of him. And that's why they rode like they did. Yeah. Not a good thing. But as we move forward, because he was a great man and he lived a long life, someone who was not able to live a long life was this young man. This young man here executed at 14 years old. Executed for a double murder that he did not commit. Executed for a double murder that he was not physically able to have committed, but also wasn't even in the vicinity of where the killings happened. And he was kept in jail about 80 plus days without an attorney, without his parents, without any type of anything. Yeah. When I think of George Stinney Jr., I think of how they have literally been able to George Stinney Jr. so many young Black American men, all the way down to our babies. I mean, before Tamir Rice, there was George Stinney Jr. Yeah. Yeah. George Stinney Jr. has lived through every Black American man that has been taken out wrongfully, obviously done by the police, sometimes unlawfully. You got law enforcement being unlawful. But here this boy is. They say he bludgeoned 2 girls. This boy was frail. He was small. And the instrument that they said that he had murdered them with, he physically wouldn't have been able to pick that up as a boy his size, unless he had some type of superhuman strength, which we know he didn't have, which they try to act like we do have. You ever notice that it don't matter the size or the weight? If a Black kid's involved, they always look at it like, whoa, are you an MMA? Are you a professional this, professional that? Like, no, just a kid. But this boy was small. He was small. And they tried to say that he picked up something, and I forgot what they say. 80 kilograms. Does that sound right? But the instrument was too heavy for him to have physically been able to pick up. And they convicted him. And they executed him. And then 70 years later, long after his execution, I mean, they executed a baby with no evidence. They just needed somebody to go. And I've always thought, because that's who they said they locked up at the time, and obviously the case was closed, I've always thought it was somebody who did not look anywhere near like George Stinney Jr. I mean, it just made no sense to me. And to hear how people even worked against him, people literally worked against him as a child. One of his old teachers got paid to talk against him. And they asked him why he made up those lies, and he said, I was paid to say that. I was paid. Very, very small. Very small. But look what they did. Look what they did to him. To electrocute a 14-year-old, you have no soul. You have no soul. None whatsoever. He's 14. He's a baby. And you have no conclusive evidence that he ever did anything, let alone kill two young girls. They knew somebody else killed them girls. This is where, I try not to let my emotions get involved, but they get involved. You took a 14-year-old boy out the paint on a lie. Y'all knew goddamn well he didn't kill them girls. And then 70 years later, they're like, oh, he's been exonerated. In 2014, 70 years after his conviction and execution, now you want to tell me it just makes no sense. It doesn't. And even though it wasn't physical at the hands of law enforcement, it was still law enforcement who wrongfully arrested, wrongfully tried, wrongfully killed him. It's just, yeah. We've gotten no further when we have a situation like Tyree Nichols. And he was beat up by 5 black police officers. I mean, it's just tough. It's just tough. But I'm going to move forward because I got to get this last George in. And I don't want to keep y'all here all night. But the first George, the damage that he did, people want to call him the father of the country and all that stuff. Okay. That's what y'all going to do. Go ahead and do that. Just know when you see any pictures of George Washington smiling, He's smiling with one of your ancestors' fronts. Them your teeth. Them your teeth. And with George Washington Carver experiencing really a lifelong of glass ceilings because they just never let him really spread his wings. They just never let him spread his wings. From what I know, he had an unmarked grave and then someone bought him a headstone. George Stinney had an unmarked grave up until recently, if I'm not mistaken, and then they got him a headstone. He was in an unmarked grave. He was. And then George Stinney, a young innocent boy taken out by the system and electrocuted at 14, only to be exonerated 70 years later. Oh shit, he didn't do it. I guess we better say something. At that point, his family should have just got millions. I don't know what they got. But then we get to Big George. We went from Little George, but then we get to Big George. And we all know what happened here. I'm not going to show the image of him having someone push him into the concrete with their knee, force of their body leverage, being held down on his legs by two other officers, former officers, as it were. But Big George is now the symbol of the modern day social justice movement. I mean, he supposedly woke up everybody's unconscious selves when he was deleted in front of America. And I've gone back and forth with this about people talking about, well, you know, he was on fentanyl and he would have died anyway. Well, maybe not that day. Maybe he was going down to a path of destruction. Well, who says he was going out that day? And people tell me that they went to George Floyd marches and this, that, and the other, and they were all involved in that. I'm like, okay, I'll commend you for getting out there, but what did y'all bring home? Aren't we still waiting for the George Floyd policing bill? Aren't we still waiting for that? We're still waiting for the George Floyd policing bill, right? I mean, they've gotten statues in every nook and cranny of the country. George Floyd has probably more statues around this country. I'll tell you this, George Floyd's statue count rivals Malcolm X. Hell, George Floyd's statue count might rival Martin, because they did so much sly shit in so many different cities to appease people. They was doing busts and doing statues and doing this and doing that. I mean, I feel that he walked into a buzzsaw that day. I still ain't seen a fake $20 bill. Still looking for that 20. Still looking for that 20. I need to see that 20. They said he had a fake 20. I need to see the. How come the 20 never came out in none of the trials? His family They took the bag, got out of Dodge. A lot of money has come down the pike specifically for his daughter to be able to take care of her in her later years. They put this country in such a weird space by saying they were really going to adapt a policing bill for somebody who was killed by police, but they made such a big deal about him being high on fentanyl. So are y'all doing it or not? That's the way I got. I got to that point, like, y'all really doing it? Like, y'all gonna change some things? Qualified immunity is what really needs to be changed. Let's just be honest. Qualified immunity is what really needs to be changed. Until these race soldiers, tools of white supremacy, peel back the layers and don't have qualified immunity to protect them, shit. I think we'd see some act right in law enforcement. Because I'm talking about like when things pop off, you did some wrong, you got a pension coming, you got this, you got that. No, they get all that. They just take all that. Take all that. I mean, that's just the way I see it. I feel his death was used by the Democrats in a way of, we can get out here and show them our solidarity to Black Americans. But no, it really didn't happen. And protests all over this country became violent because we're not a protected class of people. Asians could have had protests the same way. Because they're a protected class of people. We are not a protected class of people, so we have to be it's just unfortunate. The lack of protection allows these things to continue to happen. The lack of protection. And the only way that they can protect us is to make it a hate crime to do the things that they do to us. And I'm telling you, shit stops. Qualified immunity, it stops. Now, I'm not going to play devil's advocate, but whatever situation that George was in, chemically, he put himself there. He put himself in that space and put himself in a position for them to say that he had a fake $20 bill. So let's just say he's not there. I mean, if George had been a straight arrow, no drugs, no alcohol in his system, and that same thing happened to him, I would feel different. But just like they just threw that school teacher out on the ground and tased him into a heart attack and he died, same type of thing. None of our lynchings are the same. And to see him speak his last breaths calling out for his mama, very reminiscent to most recently with Tyree Nichols. History repeats itself in different ways, y'all. It repeats itself in different ways. George Washington used us just like every other enslaver used us. Treated us like shit, encouraged violence against us, sold us, separated our families, and stole our teeth. He wasn't noble, George. He didn't pay us for our teeth. He didn't pay us. Why the hell would he pay us for our teeth? That was a lie. All the way to George Floyd, who they said tried to pay for, I don't know, was it a sandwich or some cigarettes or something with a fake 20? And he ends up getting deleted. And I think he was high as Cootie Brown. I think he was high as Cootie Brown. I do. I think he was high as Cootie Brown. My grandmother used to say that. That boy high as Cootie Brown. I think he was high. But I don't give a damn about him being high. Man, you killed him. He may have died later that day, the next week, or whatever, of a fentanyl overdose. But he hadn't died, and he seemed like he was okay before you got to messing with him. I just feel that anybody with a badge, if they know that they have absolutely no protection from their police agency, from their police union, if they go out and commit aggravated crimes against citizens, no protection, I think things stop. I truly do. I think all the bullshit stops. All of the random, not so random violence stops. I just want people to know they got us. They got us in every which way. And they'll continue to get us until we are a protected class of people, like so many others. And that's why we need strong politicians pushing for bills that liberate us, American freedmen, yeah. If we don't have that, we're dead. I see all this bickering about people, white politician, black politician, this politician, or that politician. Are you an ally? Are you advocating for American freedmen? If you answer both of those, yes, go ahead and sit over there. We'll be right with you. That's the way it is. That's the way it should be. If you're with us, you're with us. If you're not with us, and get your ass on over there so we know not to vote for you. We stop letting these people come to our churches and whatnot, come to our schools and whatnot, come to our parks and whatnot, come to our free jazz concerts on the weekend at the park and talk that talk. And talk that talk. No, you're not going to talk that talk here. You're not going to do that to us. You're not going to put us in that frame. We want to see some action, Jackson. If we can't see no action, Jackson, don't get to axing for a vote. Sorry. Yeah. But I'm going to get on up out of here, man. You know, this has been an exhilarating cast. I know y'all like, woo, he's celebrating Black History Month real hard, but I am. It's a celebration. It's a celebration. But I celebrate different than other people. I don't look at this as a downtrodden thing. I just look at it as the truth. This is the truth, y'all. And it's obviously by my own interpretation. Somebody could have did this whole cast totally different than I did it. But I said what I said, and I feel what I feel. Yeah. But I do have something tomorrow where I'm going to be talking about missing kids. A lot of kids from my area. Sister Yvette, I got your slides uploaded. We're going to talk about these kids. I don't know how anybody is letting this slide by not talking about it. From November 25th to December 3rd, 11 kids came up missing in Memphis. How is this not national news? From November 25th to December 3rd, 11. I got an issue with that. Because ain't nobody talking about that. How does that happen? All from virtually the same area. It's got Atlanta child murderers all over it. And I hope not. I hope these kids get returned to their homes, to safe spaces. But to have that many come up missing in that short of a time, there's something at play. There's something really at play. So it just ain't in my mind. I'm trying to tell you. It's not in my mind. In my mind. But I appreciate everybody being in here tonight. And we're going to cook tomorrow. Once again, appreciate all the birthday love. Very humbling. I got to go back and try to answer some things. Some people said some things to me. You know, giving yourself some applause. Same neighborhood. You said that, sister. Same neighborhood. Yeah. Applauding those people who gave out the birthday love today. Appreciate y'all. Give me a quick beat. You know, we don't really mess around with the sound effects too much. Yep, all around the same age. I saw that. Where's that one? Oh, that was a game show thing. I want to get to a point where I'm just really like a moderator and I can do stuff like that. I just really want to work some buttons, you know, not talk so much, you know. I want to get that. Yeah, it's bizarre. I was looking at the bios around the same age. I really don't get it. Male and female. Something is really at play. Something is really at play. Absolutely. Yeah, I'm on that tomorrow, for real. Slides are already done. I've been doing some TikToking. You know what? I got so crazy. I have no idea really how to TikTok. No idea. But I tell you what, whatever I did on this one, um, people are helping me with updates. They said, they basically just said, you know, if you need help,
Areas of your life that you must.
so I'm just learning, you know, I'm just learning.
Hey, TikTok. You so
What
glad.
is it?
I hope you guys enjoyed it.
I don't know what any of that. I got to get better. Thanks, Free. Appreciate it. I'm old, you know. I'm old, so I'm late to the game with the TikTok, but I'm trying. I'm doing my best. I'm doing my best. Still got birthday wishes coming through, man. It's a beautiful thing. Appreciate y'all. Appreciate y'all. I'm seeing them on the big screen here. So, but man, y'all be good, you know, for the rest of the night and into tomorrow. And we'll get back. You know, we just really got to cook on this thing, man. We really got to cook on it. This missing children thing it's hitting me different. It really is. It's hitting me way different than I thought it would. And things are just starting to get uncovered with people and scenarios. And I just want to bring some kids home and bring some more home and bring some more home. I mean, just make it a part of what I do. Because, you know, I just think, you know, it's that reach one, teach one type thing. And I'm glad y'all patient with me with these different spaces and whatnot. But I'm gonna get what you read. We're gonna get that thing done on the Twitter space. Maybe we do it tomorrow night. Actually, tomorrow night I'm supposed to go to the Ipsy Township board meeting. I got to do that tomorrow. But it still might be early enough. It still might be early enough to where I can get the cast in tomorrow evening. I'm thinking I need to do it in the evening. Y'all thinking the evening will be better to do that? And then, or would it be better to do it like during, or y'all need something to do during the day? I have no problem. I'm ready to cook on that. I'm ready to cook on that for real already. You already know. I mean, with the missing kids, I can really go off the dome with it because it's really more of a spiritual thing, and I'm you know, I've got the slides, I got all that stuff. You know, I don't have to do a whole lot more homework on that. I really would like someone to be able to converse with on it. And Sister Yvette, I think that we talked a little bit about, you know, if you're able to position yourself to come on up, that'd be an awesome situation too, being that is your area. But until then, you know, we're gonna do our thing out here. It's my birthday. I don't know if I should be bad and play a song that, you know, I shouldn't play. It ain't gonna ban my stream or nothing like that. Maybe they give me a little flex because it is my birthday. I gotta watch this 50-year anniversary tribute. They said it was pretty good at the Grammys. You know, I don't really mess with that too much. I don't really mess with the Grammys, but they said last night was right. They said it was right. So I might have to go check that out. You might have to go check that out. And it's at the top of everybody's timeline. It's at the top of everybody's timeline. So I might as well just go look at it so I can get it off my timeline, get back into my music. Why isn't so? Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I know I'm not the conventional caster out here, but I appreciate y'all understanding where I'm at and who I am with it. And the one thing they can't say ain't nothing coming off Fugazi out here. Ain't nothing coming off Fugazi. No. We don't do that. We don't do that here. We don't do that here. You know, and the fact that I'm still where I am with this thing, with my fervor, because it's not going to lessen. It's not going to lessen. I just really want my piece of the pie in this, you know? I just want my piece of the pie. As a matter of fact, let me just rock with this one. I know y'all know this one. This is something that this is for our old rollers tonight. I appreciate you. I'm just looking for my piece of the action, y'all. And y'all know that's me. And that's where I'm going to be. So y'all be good.
One discovering you.
One love.
Make a dream come true. Baby, say what you will. But I'm here for the kill. La, 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 la. And I'm ready to deal. So you want a trip? Well, baby, check out my hips. Really got to fly. I'll launch us to the sky. Delicious main attraction. Your share, a piece of action. Got some news for you. Got some news for you. I can be funky for you.
Ain't nothing wrong with that.
Funky for you. Delicious main attraction. Delicious. Of all the guys I've seen, you, baby, sweet damn, sweet damn. Don't need to understand myself. I'll take of you